Greetings, juniors. This is your Chapter 2 test. Make sure your name, date, and period is on the paper. Numbers 1 through 2. All right. If you're wondering who that strange noise in the background, it's some boogeyman. But numbers 1 and 2, we need to determine if these represent a function. We just need to use an input-output table. All right, so to make that input-output table, again, just to show you, you want to make x, y, and then I would graph, like, okay, there's 0, 0, and there's 3, 2, and so forth, and continue that. And then you can look at them to determine whether or not it's a function. For every input, you can only have one output, or you can graph them. And again, if it's a function, it's going to be a straight line. So that's number 1 and 2. Number 3, it says, is the function linear, yes or no? And we've got to make sure we write that on the line. Okay, so be clear with the directions and your expectations of what's to go in the line. Write yes or no. Then, oops, where's my eraser? Whoopsie daisy. Then we need to evaluate for this given value. For example, in this one, you're going to plug in 1 for the x, and then you're going to solve. So over here on the line, over here, we should have yes or no, and then also a numerical answer for this function. And remember, if it's a function, it's going to look like it is in y equals mx plus b or minus b format. Okay? Good luck. Number 4 is just like number 3. Determine if it's a function. Again, you need to pay attention to if it's in y equals mx plus b form like we had here. All right, you got 2x squared plus 3. So yes or no, and then plug the 3 in for the x. So again, you should have yes or no and a numerical value over here. In number 5, and 6, we want to find the slope between these 2 points. So again, just remember to find your slope, it's m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x sub 1. And again, I find it to be very helpful if we zoom in. There's your x1, there's your y1, here's your x2, and there's your y2. All right? So good luck here. That's number 5 and 6. In number 7, we got ourselves a little word problem here, wanting to know about slope. It says you're measuring a bike ramp that is 15 feet wide and 12 feet tall. What is the slope of the ramp? Hey folks, best way to do a problem like this, or any word problem, is try to get a picture, a chart, something. So we got 15 feet wide and 12 feet high. Okay, so we want to know what is the slope. That's what we're trying to find there. Okay, so remember, slope is rise over run. So take a look at your numbers, determine whose rise, whose run, plug them in and reduce the fraction. You'll have yourself a slope. As the old radio syndicate Paul Harvey used to say, and now page 2. So we need to show any and all work. Put your answers on the line. Number 8. A bank will put $25 into an account opened by a new customer. The bank charges $2.95 for service fee on that account. You need to write a linear equation that shows the balance after any given month, assuming that there's no activity on the account, meaning you don't put any money in, you don't take any money out. And then find the balance in the account after 9 months. So you're probably thinking to yourself, how on earth do I do this, right? It's easy. You can do this. Remember, if it's a linear equation, it's all based off of this. Y equals mx plus or minus b. So, you need to figure out here, all right, what is your m and what is your b? Which one of these numbers would be like the slope, and which would be like the y-intercept, the part that's going to be your base, your stronghold, who's not changing, okay? One of them's going to be your m, one of them's going to be your b. Now, what to do about this whole 9 months thing, right? Well, that can be plugged in for the x, because it's like an input. So once you figure out it's going to be y equals something x plus something, then plug in the 9 for the x, and then work the whole thing out, and you'll get your y. That'll get you what it is after 9 months. Okay? If you still have questions about it, come and ask me. Okay, number 9, it says write an equation of a line with a slope of -1/3 and a y-intercept of 2 in point slope form. Now, I got to apologize here. I think we made a typo when we made this test. This should not be point slope form. I think we want this to say slope intercept. Slope intercept, which is y equals mx plus or minus b, as we've beat into your head so often. Okay, so which one's your m, which one's your b, just plug it in. Now in number 10 here, we want to write the equation of a line that passes through this point, 1, 4, but he's perpendicular to this line. Okay? So the key is, and again, I would still use y equals mx plus b or minus b. Here's your x, here's your y. And what do we got to do with this slope? The slope of this line is currently 2/1. What's it got to be if it's perpendicular? Okay, remember what we do with this slope? We got to change a couple things. Once you figure out that this new slope here, all right, take your slope, take the x, take the y, and find your b, and then re-plug it back into y equals mx plus b. Okay? So you're going to take 1 and 4 and plug them in for x and y. Take your new slope that you got here. Figure out what b is. Then rewrite it as y equals something x plus or minus whatever you get for b. Okay? If you have more questions, just come back and ask. In number 11, we're to write the equation of a line that passes through the point 1, -1, but is parallel with y equals -1x plus 2. Now, I, of course, would definitely rewrite this so that it would be y equals -1x plus 2. Now, remember, if they're parallel, their slopes are what? They're going to be identical, right? So again, you're just thinking, okay, so my slope is y equals mx plus or minus b, and that's a crappy looking b, but you know what I mean. All right, so again, we need the b, right? You've got the x, you've got the y. We know what the slope is because we're going to steal it from this cat over here. Plug all three of those in here, figure out your b, and then rewrite it. So it's y equals something x plus or minus something, okay? Now looking on 12 and 13, we're talking about direct variation. Now remember, your equation, your base equation for direct variation is y equals kx. All right, so if they're telling us that x directs vary with y, just plug these two guys in over here, solve for k. So first step is solve for k. Then, second step, rewrite, meaning rewrite it in this format. Once you find out what k is, you're going to say, okay, y equals, let's say it's 5. This would be y equals 5x. Okay? So that's how you rewrite your equation over here for direct variation. That's for 12 and 13. Okay, number 14, a company's market value, which is V, right here, varies directly with the price share, which is P, of its stock. Okay? So this would be like your X, and this would be like your Y. A company has a market value of 150 million. Again, this would be like your X if it's market value, when its price per share is $20. So that's going to be a Y if I can draw one. There we go. What is the market value of the company if the price per share was increased by $10? So again, you want to start with your base, Y equals KX. All right, plug them in, find your direct variation. Okay, find your K. And then we're going to say, okay, refigure what Y is. If it says here, if it's increased by $10, so the price per share was 20, so now we need to, where's the eraser? There he is. Oh, and it won't let me erase. Okay. Anyhow, the price per share is going to be $30. So replug this back in for X and use the K that you found to find your new Y. Okay, that'll give you your new market value. Good luck. Okay, guys, page 3 of your test, number 15. You need to evaluate, which just means plug in the -2 for where you see X. Now, in your final answer, you're going to want to write, so the f of -2 equals what? That's what will go in your answer over here. In number 16, it says write the equation of a line that passes through those 2 points in point-slope form. Now, I know, we kind of got away with working with point-slope form, but remember your first step here is going to find the slope, which to do so, you're going to use the y2 minus y1 that we did on the previous pages. That'll give you your slope, and then you pick either this point or this point, and you're going to plug it into the point-slope form, which is this here. And then that's it. That's all you got to do. Now, again, you're plugging in, keep the minuses in the equation, but here are the guys you want to replace with the information that you have. On number 17, says you'll begin downloading 1,200 megabyte movie from Netflix before starting your homework. 30 minutes later, you find that 675 megabytes remain to be downloaded. What is the average rate of change per minute in the amount downloaded? Okay, so you need to first figure out, your important information is the whole thing is 1,200 megabytes, and after 30 minutes, you only had that much left. So think about mathematical operations of what you're going to need to do with, figure out if this is what's left, don't you need to know how much you've already downloaded in that 30 minutes? Okay, so I would probably try to figure out, okay, however much I've downloaded, there's my cell phone buzzing, do you hear that? Yeah, isn't that nice? But my X is going to be how much I've already downloaded. So you need to figure out with these two numbers how much you've already downloaded in 30 minutes. And then that'll give you your rate of change. Okay, that little triangle means change. Okay, so that's what you want to do for 17. Okay, number 18 is a direct variation problem. Okay, remember direct variation is y equals k times x. And you are given the x and the y here. So you just need to rewrite the equation. So first, find the k, figure out what k is, and then rewrite your your equation as y is going to equal something times x. Okay, last page. Number 19, you need to draw a scatter plot, okay, using this information here on the graph, okay. And then you need to put a line of best fit. Now, you remember how to do that. Just kind of put the line where you think it would go best. Let's just say, for example, I don't know if that's really where it's going to go or not. And then we want you to, as best you can, write an equation in slope-intercept, which is y equals m, maybe if my stylus will work, here we go, x plus or minus b, okay? So it's an estimation. Everybody's maybe a little bit different from one another. But, remember the b is where you think it's going through the y. And then just kind of estimate your slope. Okay, for example, my line's going down. So I might say that, my slope might be, okay, we're going down 1 and over 1. So it'd be a negative 1 over 1 would be my slope, for example. Okay, so that's an estimation, but you should get a number close to what we're looking for, okay? Number 20, same exact thing, another scatter plot with the information that's given here, graph it here, and also predict the value of y when x is equal to 12. And actually, you need to do that up in the other one too, in letter C. So if basically, and you may need to go back to 19, but in your y equals mx plus b, or minus b, you're going to plug that number in for x, and then solve what's your y. Because you're going to have a slope, you're going to have a b, also plug in a number for x, that'll give you y. Okay? If you have questions or confused, please come and ask me. And that is the end of your test. So take your time, go back through anything you might need. Hope this helped you out, and I hope you have a great day. Bye-bye now.